Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video we are going to look at this amazing flashlight from the company Olight. Now this flashlight is one that, quite frankly, I've watched a bunch of reviews from other reviewers talking about this who said they wouldn't necessarily EDC this flashlight, but I can tell you I have, and it has been absolutely wonderful. And so here we have the Olight Freyr, which is a multi-use and multi-purpose flashlight that has a number of different modes. For me, this is going to fall into a couple of different sort of niche scenarios, and I think this is something that you will find very interesting. Now, this is a flashlight that for Olight will have some upcoming promotions, so take a look in the description box below to get some further details. Now, at the time of this video, Olight is releasing a very nice limited edition Orange Freyr. This is going to be absolutely perfect for the outdoor environment, for hiking, camping, backpacking. At least that's what I know I would do with this. So get yourself a limited edition Orange Freyr. They are not going to last. And so in today's video, we're going to get a good look at this. I'm going to go through all of the details. We'll get outside, we'll get some good quality beam shots so that you can see how this performs and come to an understanding of where you may like to use this. Again, for me, couple of different great scenarios, and I am looking forward to using this on a number of occasions. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Olight who did provide this product for review. Now again, in my hands here, this is the Olight Freyr, which at an initial glimpse looks to be a little bit bigger than your typical EDC flashlight, which in reality, well, it is. Here's your typical 18650 battery. Here it is next to the Freyr, and the diameter is fairly close. The length is fairly close, but where it really differs is in the size of the head. And again, I have watched a number of reviews where most reviewers say, well, because of that, they will not EDC this nor recommend to EDC this flashlight. Now, maybe it's just me, but yeah, it's a little big, but it's also packing a whole bunch of features that really make it advantageous if you do choose to carry this. First off, the beam quality. Second off, the beam distance. Third, the overall lumen output. But fourth, and very interesting, multicolor LEDs on this Freyr. The battery life, the runtime, there is a lot going for this, and on top of it all, the charging capability that you get with the Olight chargers. So a lot of great things going for this, and I think it would be a shame not to EDC this flashlight. So for me, I do. And for the demonstration, well, if it makes you feel any better, could you carry a flashlight in your side pocket? Sure. Again, going back to the typical 18650 battery flashlight, here you go. Slide it in your pocket. Yeah, it's a little bit slim and it fits nicely in the corner of your pocket, but what about the Freyr? Now this Freyr coming with a wonderful clip and just sliding it in my pocket nicely down into place. So what? It just has a tiny bit of the head sitting there, everything else fitting perfectly. And it's not like it's all that much heavier. I mean, yeah, a little bit, but it's not crazy. So for me, having the overall functionality and the different modes on the Freyr is an advantage. And also for me, I do oftentimes carry some sort of tactical pants, which end up with sort of magazine style pockets. So I have found that for me, I do greatly enjoy sliding this right in there in my magazine pocket. Now it doesn't get in the way. I can just sit down, no problem, have a seat. It's right on my side, no worries, and I can definitely still get this in and out of my pocket with ease. So not a big deal, and I'm a little bit surprised at some of the reviewers saying they wouldn't EDC this flashlight because, yeah, it's a tiny bit bulky, maybe a little bit, but again, the performance prevails. And so now as we get into all of the details, well, very simple, your typical Olight box. So nice packaging, good overall presentation, and nicely done. Here you have your user manual, nicely done with a sheath style pouch with a magnetic enclosure. And then a couple different ways you can lash this to your belt. So you do have that Velcro, and you also have a pass-through design. So you can use that in a couple ways. Has a snap for added security, and then a plastic D-ring to attach this to something like a pack or a carabiner. And then it also comes with this cover. So here, just a little bit of a wand. And we can start with this real quick just to show you how that fits on there. So overall, very nice functionality. And this, as I mentioned, I feel falls into a couple of different genres. So for me, again, I do EDC this flashlight, and for a number of reasons. The overall functionality, so the programming is wonderful. Again, that beam quality, beam distance, but one of the other main features, and something you do not get with most other flashlights, this is multi-LED colors. So multiple LED colors around the ring. We're going to take a look at that in detail, but overall, this Freyr having excellent programming and functionality. And so we're going to start with the tail cap, which you can see here. The way this works is, well, you have a couple of different modes that this can cycle through. And so here with a half press, here you'll see your momentary mode. So little bit of leaning on the button there, that little bit of a half press. And at first, this comes in at what's called the low mode. So this is 300 lumens. But if you push a little bit deeper, well, here you'll see now that momentary goes into the high mode. And the high mode on this flashlight is 1750 lumens. So nice quality beam. And again, that's just a momentary press as you lean into the button and push down. There you have your momentary 1750 high mode. But also on the tail switch, if you push real quick, you'll see the light stays on. So that there is your on in your low mode. Or if you press real deep, real quick, you'll see that also stays on in the high mode. So that's your 1750 lumen output. So I've now changed the camera to a full manual mode, and you'll see as I move the flashlight further away, it gets brighter. So again, that's the high 1750. As I move it closer, well, it dims down to the low mode at 300 lumens. And what that's doing is it's utilizing a sensor, and it's a little bit of a proximity sensor so that it automatically dims the light down as you get close to a subject. It is very cool. And so in essence, that takes care of the tail cap, but you will also see that it doubles as your charging port. So using the Olight, and you'll see here, this is the MCC 1 amp, 1.5 amp, and 2 amp charger. Has a little indicator there. So right now it is flashing green, indicating that my light is essentially fully charged. And you can just remove that with ease. So that working out very well. And you'll also notice a couple little nubs on the back there. Helps a little bit with some indexing, but it also allows this to tail stand. Gives you a little bit of functionality, a little bit of tactile feel, but overall giving the tail stand and working very nicely. And so that takes me to the side switch, which if you long press here, you'll see that comes in on the moonlight mode, which is a 5 lumen output. So here, 5 lumens. Now I can single press and that turns the light off. Again, long press, moonlight mode, single press, off. Now if you single press the side switch, you'll see the light comes on. However, that is going to be memory. So in essence, if you long press again, well here, those are the alternate color LEDs. So long pressing here, red, long press green, long press blue, and again, long press, and that's back to white. Now, as I mentioned, this is a memory mode. So if I long press, we're gonna leave that on the red mode. Single press will turn the light off, and no matter how long you wait, when you single press again, it comes back to the red mode. And that is very nice. I do greatly enjoy that. Now, in my opinion, one place where Olight went a little bit wrong on the programming, and it's just a little bit of a shame. I mean, the back tail switch is perfect. I love the idea that you can get to 2 different brightnesses, low, high, no problem. The side switch, I love that you can long press and it will go into the moonlight mode. Now, in my opinion, I would love it if that particular mode, so as I long press and keep that there, I want that to be the moonlight every single time. But I want the memory to remember just the color. So for example, now I have this in that moonlight mode. Turn the light off. Well, when I single press, you'll notice it goes back into the moonlight mode. It would be better if it would be in the colors. So for example, if I was to leave this in red, turn the light off, now memory's on red. I want to be able to long press, and now that's on the moonlight mode, but then single press and go back to the red. Unfortunately, this remembers that it's in the moonlight mode, and I think that's just a little bit of a downfall, because if it was to remember the color, you would get the benefit of single pressing 4 different modes without having to fiddle around with the actual switches. So for example, I could get into low, high, long press on the side switch and get me into the moonlight mode, and then single press and get me into the color that I leave it at. And to me, that would be the best benefit. I don't need to be able to long press and single press into the moonlight mode. That just leaves this a little bit lacking in the programming, and I think a minor tweak would make a big difference. But other than that, very functional, beautifully made, awesome machining. And if that's one thing you've come to understand about Olight, their manufacturing is absolutely phenomenal. One of the best. This add-on clip, which actually comes off of the flashlight, you can add this on if you so choose, is perfect. It goes both directions, so either bezel up or bezel down carry, which I greatly enjoy. And this is very nice with beautiful machining, nice texture work, great knurling and design on this, and just a great looking flashlight. And so some subtle details as you press the flashlight on, you will see here the indicator here on the side switch giving you your battery power. On the front of the bezel, a little bit of a strike bezel, not too much. I mean, it's got a little bit of texture there, not overly aggressive. And the cone, which is a wonderful addition, long pressing here, long pressing again, and now you get your different colors. So if you needed to use this as a wand for signaling, you can certainly do so. White, red, green, and blue. So depending on your needs, that works out very, very well. And just finally, the pouch here. So if you don't want to carry this in your pocket, you can certainly use the pouch, and that will work out nicely. So if you're law enforcement or potentially an EMT or something like that, having this on your belt might work a little bit better. But again, for me, just personally, I have no problem carrying this in my pocket as an EDC. And so now getting the Freyr out here for some beam shots and a little bit of, I would say, light hiking. So here you can see getting on that back tail switch. That's just a single press there. Now I haven't fully depressed it. It is still in that momentary mode, but you can see here, this is the low mode, that 300 lumen output. And this is going to be nice as I start working my way through the trails here. More than enough light. Very nice. And we're going to get ourselves some nice beam shots over here. Now you can see with the momentary press here illuminating this bridge nicely. This here again, that is the low mode, 300 lumens, and as I push even deeper, well, there you go, that is that high mode, 1750 lumens, really lighting things up nicely across the way, all the way up into the trees, working very, very well. This Freyr is, I'm gonna start to call this the Fryer. This is better than the Freyr. To me, this is like a torch. So this here, this is the Fryer. And so now long pressing on the side switch. This here, well, this is that moonlight mode, that 5 lumen output. And you'll notice I'm actually coming up onto the bridge. Now this isn't going to be the brightest, but overall you can see decent amount of light capable of illuminating and really not going to beam too far off into the distance, but it is a nice amount of light. Certainly more than capable for general navigation as I walk up onto the bridge here. It's going to be a little hard to see in the camera, but I can pick up very nicely with my eyes. It's still a little bit bright out, not completely dark, but leveraging the flashlight, here you can see illuminating the bridge as I go across. Now again, still on that moonlight mode, you'll see not too much to see, but as I press the rear switch, well, here you go, starting to illuminate. This is the low mode, so again, 300 lumens, but look how far out that punches. I mean, way up into the trees, no problem, way off into the distance. I mean, that's couple 100 feet away, and then leaning more on the button, well, boom, there's your 1750 lumen output, way out. I mean, that tree there, way off in the distance, and look at the reflection it's making in the water. This is fantastic. Now again, as I continue on, you can see here, working my way down this path, well, on the side switch there, not too much to see, but long pressing. Now we'll go through these colors. So here, the red, illuminating pretty nice. Now, good for me to see. Camera's going to have a little bit of a hard time, but at the same time, you can see I'm coming across some signs. So really, at this point, lighting all of this up. There you go. Have a healthy trail. And it's handicap accessible. Long press, here's the green. So doing a real nice job now. Your eye can really see green very well. It is actually one of the wavelengths of light that's the easiest for your eye to see. And you can see the camera doing an okay job. You can see this trail and path pretty well. Not too far off into the distance, but far enough that you can definitely navigate, and good battery life. So if I needed to use this to get out of this trail, I would have absolutely no problem at all. And again, long pressing into the blue. Now the blue's not quite as easy to see with my eyes. It's a little less native, and it's a little bit of an odd color, but at the same time, you can see the camera doing a pretty good job picking up the trees in the distance and illuminating back towards the bridge. Not the best, but decent. Again, long press. That's that moonlight mode. Going back to the red. Very effective. The green, I can tell you, I could navigate forever using this. I could definitely make it all the way out of here with no problem at all. I mean, very nice to illuminate. If I was coming up on rocks and roots and stumps and twigs and things I was going to trip over, I would have no problem at all. And then a little bit of a half press, boom, that's your 300. Really lighting it up there, 1750 lumens. Sick. So out here with the Freyr, here you'll see, using the cover, this wand, very nice. So little quick blip there, and this working very well. 2 tail cap stand there, so no problem. And that looks pretty nice in terms of the general beam quality. Now, it's not overly harsh on my eyes, a little bit, but not too bad. And then leveraging the side switch here, well, long press. That there being that moonlight mode, long press. Here you can see the red. Now, if I was going to use this in the camping scenario, that would work out mighty nice. Long press. The green is definitely my favorite. Easy to see, not too harsh on the eyes, and everything is very clear and obvious what it is. The other colors get a little bit funny. You're kind of like, well, what exactly am I looking at? With the green, you can definitely tell. Here again, the blue, so working out mighty nice, and good overall cast. Again, the blue is not quite as native to your eyes, so it's a little bit funny. And then again, the white. You can override this by pressing the tail switch. So there you see, that's the 300 lumen mode. So again, you'll see, if you press it all the way, it does dim down because of that proximity sensor. The white, very nice. 300 lumens, just about perfect. And so in the introduction, you heard me say, I find this light is multi-purpose. Well, where does this fit? For me, definitely an EDC quality candidate. A little big, sure, but I like the overall power, the beam quality, and the multiple different colors. Now, on top of being an everyday carry light for me, I could see this really fitting the hiking, camping, and backpacking genre. Granted, again, it's going to be a little bit heavier and a little bit bulkier than typical lights. However, a few things. One, phenomenal runtime. Very, very good runtime. And I always say when I talk about backpacking, I need a light that's powerful enough, strong enough, but has good enough battery life to get me out of a jam. I definitely need the ability to literally get myself out of the mountains in almost pitch black conditions. So if I needed to self-rescue, having a flashlight with good capability is going to be critical. But on top of that, having the cone and the ability literally to use this as a lantern, that's going to be very nice. So whether I use that moonlight mode or here, that high mode, this is going to work out very well. And you'll see that kind of dims down. So it's not the full 1750. It automatically dims down there. So actually that's the medium mode, but that's a nice amount of light for a camping scenario. And good battery life. Battery life on the 300 lumen mode, 9.5 hours. That is fantastic. And 300 lumens, again, much more light than I need for any of my tasks, which is not a bad thing. So again, if I needed to use this to self-rescue and get my way out of a jam in the middle of the mountains or in the remote wilderness, I have 9.5 hours of quality light, quality beam, and the ability to really get myself out of a jam. That's huge. But in addition, leveraging the alternate modes. So again, using the red if I wanted to and I didn't want to kill my night vision, I could leverage the cone, have the ability to read in my tent or my hammock and really not kill my night vision. And some people prefer green. You could definitely use this as well. So the fact of the matter is, this Freyr just being a wonderful multi-use for me. Never mind if you're law enforcement or an EMT. You could easily use this if you're a police officer to help control traffic. Again, long pressing there goes into the white mode. You could certainly put it on red. You could use this to catch people's attention, direct traffic, a number of different purposes. And it's a nice soft cover here, so it's not going to be bulky. It's not going to take up a huge amount of space in a kit. You can fit it all and nest it nicely down inside this pouch. I think it's a great flashlight with multiple uses, and it is, quite frankly, in my opinion, more practical than it is bulky. So it's worth it to me to have a little bit of trade-off in the size for the overall functionality. And just finally, this makes an awesome flashlight for your kind of EDC get home or bug out kit. Bottom line is, well, what if you break down in a car, or you want to have a little bit of attention on the side of a road? You could certainly do that with the multiple colors. So any one of the colors leveraging this, or if you triple press the side switch real fast, well, there you have it. That's your strobe. And that is more than enough to catch people's attention. So very bright strobe, even with the cover on, and that's going to be nice. And that's going to cast light very wide and broad, and not necessarily completely direct, because otherwise, well, you literally have to point this directly at vehicles. And I would say that, in my opinion, putting the diffuser on is a lot more effective. So very nicely done, great functionality. I do like the size. It fits in my pocket well. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid to put a quality flashlight in my pocket for general purposes. And you've heard me talk about this many, many times on my channel. I do rely on high-powered quality flashlights with good throw for inspectional purposes. And this will absolutely do it. So just personally for me, I've been carrying slightly larger, bulky flashlights for a long time, and to have something that's actually this small and this capable is definitely amazing. And so again, I'd like to say thank you very much to the people at Olight for providing this product for review. And for the rest of you, look down below. There are some codes that get you a bit of a discount. There are promotions going on with Olight all the time. So if you're interested in this Freyr, I can say I greatly enjoy it, and I think you will too. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. Hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.